All right, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to bring some assets from Photoshop into After Effects. And for this, it's not necessarily the technical term dynamic linking, but I do want to show you how you can use things through your Creative Cloud libraries. So I've got this layer in Photoshop. It's a text layer, and it just says text from Photoshop, and I've got a drop shadow on there, so I can turn it off and turn it on. But what I want to show you is how you can take these layers and drag them up into your Creative Cloud library. So I'm going to put that there. And then this is a layer style that we can actually transfer into After Effects. And so the way we can do that is just make sure it's layer selected. I'm going to click the effects, which is a layer style. And then I can click the A here for add character style. Now that's going to give me all the information for my font as far as like what size it is and if it's italic or not, and all of that fun stuff. So now what we can do is go back into After Effects and see that we do have our libraries updated with everything we added in. Now it's important to consider that when you have a graphic, when you bring that in, it's only going to be the graphic. It's not actually editable text. That's why it's under the graphic option and not under a text layer. So I'm going to open up this dynamic link composition, and I'm going to drag in this graphic that says text from Photoshop so we can see that. But notice if I go to my type tool, I can't actually edit that layer. So we do have this layer name, text from Photoshop, which is right here, but we can't edit that. Now I'm going to show you how we can actually make changes to that. So under the character styles and layer styles, remember you can see what types of font you're using and what layer styles are applied. But if we go back to our Photoshop document, we can go up to File and then Save, or use Control S to save it. And then what we can do is go back into After Effects, use File, Import, and File. You can also use Control I as a shortcut, and we're going to pick this AE Beginners Photoshop file. Now we have this Import As option. We can do it as footage, composition, retain layer sizes, or regular composition. We're going to use composition, retain layer sizes, and then I'm going to click Import. Now notice we also have this import kind. These are the same options we just went through, and we're going to keep editable layer styles as our selection. If you have it on merged layer styles, that's going to make things render better in After Effects, but we want to make it to where we can actually edit the layer styles. So I'm going to click OK. And now we've got an AE Beginners composition and a folder that now has any layer from our Photoshop document. So let me close this composition. I'm going to open the AE Beginners, and we already have our layers in here. Now we can see that we can move this around. If we bring our type tool up, we still can't edit that with our type tool. But if we go down here and drop this layer now, we can see that we have the layer styles that they were brought over. So if we look at our drop shadow, we can see our blend modes, the opacity, we can increase the size if we wanted to, or the spread, and all that's from being able to retain the layer sizes and have them editable. If we wouldn't have selected that option, we would not be able to change those. So let's say you already have this in here and you want to change this text. Well, you can simply go back to Photoshop. Let's say we want to rename the layer, so we'll call this new layer rename. And then when we go back to After Effects, we can see that now this is still the same. Okay, nothing has changed. But if we go into Photoshop and save the document, it's now changed to new layer. And if I expand this just a little bit and open this, you'll see that it says new layer rename. But we haven't got any new text. Well, that's because we haven't changed it. So let's go into Photoshop, open up our type tool, and we'll say this is different text. Fair enough. Okay, now we'll save the document, go back into After Effects, and we can see that it's now changed the text. So we still have our layer styles, we still have the layer in here, and so now if we want to go into Photoshop, we could add a new layer, save it, and then bring that over into After Effects. So a good way to work with Photoshop to keep all of your files, and you don't have to export and change everything. You can just save it and it'll update in real time back in After Effects. So a very useful tool. And I will see you in the next one on how we're going to take Illustrator files and bring those into After Effects.